Afternoon, peeps. Good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully, you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. Let's have a look and see what there is today. Let's start here. Bob Arum, if he keeps his head on straight and acts like he's acting now, Teofimo Lopez can be a major star. Yeah, I agree with that. I love the way Teo's been in the build-up to this fight. He's done the media rounds. He's called out a few people. I love that interaction with Keyshawn Davis. I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's fantastic at the final press conference. Yeah, look, he's already a star, but that jump to becoming a major star where he can sell out some of the big arenas and do good numbers on pay-per-view, that's not easy. That's not easy at all. He might not ever get to that. I think he will. It depends on the dance partner. If he gets a few big names in the ring with him, like big names that sell, then you automatically sometimes take a bit of their fan base as well. But we'll see. But back to if he can keep his head on straight, Teo's an unusual one. Let's not forget, 8 or 9 months ago, he retired. Then he had that incident after the Sandor Martin fight where he said, have I still got it? I know he said he was playing around. I don't think he was. But you know, those sort of 4 or 5 guys, they've always been sort of linked together. So Teofimo Lopez, Ryan, Shakur, Gervonta, Devin. Teo, for me, has achieved the most. I think he's achieved the most. I know Devin became undisputed, but I think he's wins, Teo. That's a legit win against Lomachenko. No controversy, legit win. Legit win against, at the time, unbeaten Josh Taylor. No controversy, legit win. Like, I think he's done the most, I really do. And if you were to, this might be controversial, but if you were to kind of grade all their attributes, I think Teo collectively could be the best. Think about what I just said there, by the way. So, look, I know Gervonta has more power, right? So Gervonta will be higher in knockout, but Teo's got like respectable power. If Gervonta's is a 9 or 10, Teo's is a 7, 8. He's got respectable power. And I know that in terms of fighter IQ, Devin might be higher. But if Devin's a 10, I think Teo is an 8. So I almost feel like Teo's a 7, 8 at everything. Maybe athleticism, maybe a 10. Whereas I think the others have deficiencies somewhere. That's what I think. I mean, again, you guys can judge that for yourself. But I think like he has everything. My only worry with Teo is up here. That's my only worry with him. Like sometimes he seems really on it, razor sharp. Like in the build up to this fight, he seems really on it. But there are sometimes, again, I go back to that talk of retirement, when he just goes through these weird sort of phases in the ring where you're like, okay, is Teo on it or not? He sits in the corner and you're like, okay, is this guy focused? So he has that big blip. And that's what scares me. And that's the only thing that concerns me with Teo. Apart from that, I think Teo is a special fighter. I really do. Like I said, I think he's achieved more than the other guys that he's been linked with and grouped with. But this ain't going to be easy. I got it wrong yesterday, by the way. In yesterday's video, I said this fight was on the weekend. This fight's actually today, or the early hours of Friday morning for UK fight fans. Interesting to do it on a Thursday. I've always said boxing should be every day, but it is interesting to go on a Thursday. I'm not quite sure why they didn't go on a Saturday. I know it's in Vegas, but Super Bowl's on a Sunday. I guess the hope here would maybe to go early and get some of those Vegas fight fans, Vegas fight fans coming in for the Super Bowl. So that makes sense. And another thing I got wrong yesterday was I said Jamaine Ortiz might be undersized for 140. Not undersized at all. Not undersized. I mean, at the weigh-in, he's as big. So they've clearly got that correct. A lot of people, a lot of fighters are picking Jamaine Ortiz for the upset. If Teo's on it, and I mean on it, Teo wins this one. If he goes into that ring and there's, I don't know, again, that kind of hesitation, that doubt in his mind that we saw against Sandor Martin, that we saw against Kambosos, then he might have a problem. But I'm expecting Teo to be razor sharp, as he was, not just against the big names I've mentioned, but as he was against Richard Comey, as he was against Nakatani. If he's that Teo, then he wins. And then who knows? I don't know what Teo does next. I mean, the obvious fight to make next would be Devin Haney. I mean, look, there are so many good guys at 140, but in terms of what Bob Arum said about being the superstar, the obvious fight to make is Devin Haney. That's a risky fight for both, but it's a big fight. It's a great fight. And hopefully it's one that can happen. Bomac rips into Conor Benn wanting to fight Gervonta Davis. Mess with those guys at 47 and 54. It wasn't really, yeah, I get what Bomac's saying here, but it was, I think, Gervonta that kind of almost threw a bit of shade at Conor, then Conor called him out. You know, I mean, it is what it is, right? I said this on a video I did yesterday. Like, I don't think this fight happens, or the video I did a couple of days ago. I don't think this fight happens, but you can't blame Conor for calling out a big money fight against a big superstar. I agree with Bomac. I've always said that I want Conor to get back down to 147. His 2 fights that he's been back with so far have been at 154 and 150. Get back down to 147 and make a serious run at it. Make a serious run. There are so many good fights from at 147, not just in the States, but over here. So many good fights over here, right? So let's hope we can see Conor in some good fights over here. Hamza Shiraz, I'm mentally, spiritually, physically locked in for Liam Williams. This is going to be a tough night for Liam. Tough night. I'm not quite sure what's left of Liam Williams. Again, this is the fighter that I'm pretty sure, stand to be corrected, I'm pretty sure Liam Williams announced a retirement from the sport about 8 months ago. Maybe it could have been frustration, not getting the fights he wants. Hamza Shiraz is a very, very, already a big 160. I mean, he's big at 54. He's now big at 160. He's just fresh, isn't he? He's just fresh, and I just expect him to be a bit too much for Liam Williams. That said, Liam Williams has sort of been in there with some really good guys at the big weight. So we'll see. We'll see what Liam Williams can do. But I expect Hamza Shiraz to get the job done. I hope on this card that Anthony Yarde looks good, because, again, this talk of Anthony Yarde versus Joshua Buatsi isn't going away. Frank Warren spoke about it the other day. I think they're probably going to send an offer to Box from Ben Shalom to put that fight on. I don't think Frank's against letting his fighters go onto other platforms. He's done it before. So let's hope that fight can be made. Alexander Usyk, with God's help, I will finish all this work. I'll be able to box 3 Tyson Furies. Both of these guys look like this setback hasn't really affected them. Alexander Usyk is straight back into camp. Tyson Fury looks like he's doing a bit of road work here. Look, if Alexander Usyk can beat Tyson Fury, I mean, again, we need to have an all-time great discussion as to where he is. Honestly, I mean, and not just where he is for this era, I mean all time, because that would be so impressive to be undisputed at cruiserweight, to be undisputed at heavyweight. Again, you chuck in all the amateur background. I know people don't like to do it, but even if you don't chuck in the amateur background, to be undisputed at heavyweight and cruiserweight, especially heavyweight now, where I know people talk about the fighters just aren't that many good fighters, and we always compare it to the 80s and 90s. The fact is, though, he's severely undersized against some of these guys. He is. He's probably, against Fury, going to be giving away free stone. And he's not giving away free stone against like a bum. Do you know what I mean? It isn't like, that's probably the wrong phrase to use, but it isn't like, hey, Valuev. Well, Valuev just couldn't box. He's just bigger than everyone. Just couldn't box. Fury can box. So he's giving away free stone against a guy who's actually very, very, very good. And if he were to beat Fury, then again, I think there needs to be an all-time great discussion. And then obviously there's the pound for pound discussion as well, because I think I said this the other day. There are so many people in the pound for pound rankings that are either unified with free belts or undisputed. It's crazy right now. It's crazy. Good fight announced the other day. Boxer announced it. I think the press conference was yesterday as well, between Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clarke. Really, really good fight for the British heavyweight title. Obviously, Wardley looked fantastic against Adelaide, and Fraser Clarke, who maybe should have fought Wardley before Adelaide did, gets his opportunity now. In the ring, it was interesting. They went nose to nose, and I think Wardley said to Fraser, "You're not ready for this. Like, you're not ready for this step up." And I think Fraser responded by saying, "Who have you fought?" So maybe he's given no respect to the opposition that Fabio's been in with, but Fabio's been in with some good cats. Obviously at a lower level in terms of, I'm not saying world level cats, but, you know, English, British, some good names out there that he's beaten. I don't know who's going to win this one. I think I'll edge towards Fabio, just because he's been in the fights and we've seen it. And even when he gets hit, we've seen how he responds. He's obviously got punch power. I like him. I like the fact that he's working with boxing science. I know those guys, they get you into incredible shape. So that box is ticked. And I think we're seeing now already that his boxing ability, remember he's come from the white collar background, his boxing ability, he's got a lot better as well. So that's a good fight. I think they're about to announce Jack Catterall, Josh Taylor as well. There was a lot of talk about that fight going on DAZN. I think DAZN have come out, and I think Eddie said this, that DAZN have said that they don't believe it's a pay-per-view fight. That's a mistake. Because it will do good numbers. It will do good numbers. People in this country love nothing better than a domestic dust-up. They get behind it. It gets people talking. Everyone loves domestic dust-ups. I think we're going to see that with Fabio Wardley, Fraser Clarke. We saw it in the build-up to Boatsy Aziz. We just love it. It's what we've grown up on. It's why sort of in the 90s, boxing took off here, because you always had those domestic rivals, and it just works. And I think this is a big, big domestic rivalry. And I think the press conference is going to be incredible. I think the face-off is going to be incredible. And I think DAZN have missed out on something special here. Would it do 500,000 pay-per-view buys? No, it might not do it, but it'll do a good number. It'll do a good number because both of them will sell it well. Crawford's trainer, I'm guessing this is Bomac. Jaron Ennis doesn't bring nothing to the table. Don't know. Obviously, look, he's got a belt. I know it's a belt that Crawford basically given up, but it's a belt nonetheless. He's unbeaten. He's the next guy up. At this stage of Crawford's career, you're probably only looking at super fights. And the super fights are Jermell Charlo. The super fights are potentially Canelo. You're maybe not looking at a Jaron Ennis. And I don't blame Crawford for that. It's not a duck. It's not that. Look, Crawford ain't ducking any man. But yeah, it's just it's not the fight. I guess the problem for Jaron Ennis is that Virgil Ortiz has left the division. Keith Thurman now looks like he's left the division. Obviously, he's fighting Tim Tszyu. So there isn't that big star name that he can battle with, is there? He's not going to get the Spence fight. He's not going to get the Crawford fight. Virgil Ortiz has left. Keith Thurman, who is there? Who is there, really? Barrios, maybe? Maybe. It would have been Ugas if Ugas didn't lose to Barrios, but yeah, I don't know. What else we got here? What else have we got? Let's have a quick look. Sorry, I'm just going through the stories. This was a good call out. I like this call out. Daniel Dubois. I don't know if you guys saw it. Daniel Dubois was hitting the heavy bag with Don Charles. He's getting better. He's getting better with his call outs. And he says, I heard you've been calling out everyone else's name. I can't hear mine. And he's talking to Filip Hrgović. I don't mind that fight. I don't mind it. I mean, look what they put fucking Hrgović in with last time. Mark Demori, which was a joke. Like, whoever came out of that matchmaking, oh no, man. They should have held. You know what? It was so bad. I've never said this about a fighter. Mark Demori's purse should be held. Like he was turning around like a club fighter. They didn't want to be in there. And when I say club fighter, I mean a guy that fights in clubs. I don't mean a club fighter that, has small hall shows. I mean a guy that fights in the fucking clubs. It was so bad. And Daniel Dubois, he's high right now. He's coming off that good win. Not only is he coming off a good win against Jarrell Miller, he's coming off a good 5 or 6 rounds against Alexander Usyk. It was a good performance. So why not? Why not maybe call for this fight? Would he get it? I don't know. There are undercard slots to fill whenever they put on big card in Saudi Arabia. It's a big fight over here. So let's see. Eddie Hearn, Devin Haney can come and fight Conor Benn at London at 147. Can we just get a 147 guy? Am I asking for too much? Like Devin Haney, Javonte Davis, I get it. But can we just get a 147 guy? And can these guys fight in their own division? Like, God, man. I just don't get it. Francis Ngannou warns, I will take the soul of Anthony Joshua. That sounds quite menacing and scary. I don't know, man. Well, I think I know, but as soon as that bell goes, I'm not quite sure. I did something with Darren Barker the other day. He's got a really nice gym in Aldgate. We did a little how to beat, and was talking about how Ngannou can beat AJ and how AJ can beat Ngannou. And one thing that we both kind of said is that AJ normally, he doesn't do it on purpose, but just because of his sheer size, he's quite intimidating to other fighters. Obviously, that intimidation is gone. Like Ngannou is not going to be intimidated by AJ. In fact, it could be the opposite. And when AJ gets in a clinch, he can push you off, he can push you to the ropes and bash you up. He can't maybe push Ngannou back. So all those things have gone. Ngannou is so used to fighting in 4-ounce gloves as well. So I don't know if he's going to be as afraid to get hit. Obviously, look, you don't want to get hit, but it doesn't have that same damage that these, what must look like pillows on his fist now, can do. So it's an interesting one. Can AJ knock out Ngannou? I think so. I think he can tire him and knock him out through just pure physical exhaustion plus pain. Can Ngannou knock out AJ? He certainly fucking can. If he lands clean, he certainly can. A guy that size, if he lands clean, absolutely. All right, anything else? There's a few other bits, but nothing serious. All right, guys, girls, we will see you on the next one. Peace.